Now batting for the Reds, number 44, the shortstop, Ellie De La Cruz.
Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Straz.
Welcome to the Red Hot Reds podcast. I'm Roger, that's Ricky. It is Sunday, 8 p.m. We are live talking about whatever you want to talk about. We are doing a question and answer. I got some questions for Ricky. You might have some questions for me. Got some guys that chimed in. If you're in the chat today, please feel free to chime in. Any questions about the Reds, minor leagues,
or about us,
Dominican, or about us. I don't know. I'm more comfortable.
Not interesting. I'm not very interesting, but
yeah, I'm more of the let's talk Reds.
yeah.
But anyway, the point being is that we're trying to just have like another kind of end of the season, set up the off season type of conversation, because we're kind of in this kind of weird, it's not even free agency period yet, so we don't know exactly what's going on. Obviously, we talked a lot about the Hunter Greene stuff, I guess, to put it nicely, the Hunter Greene nonsense, because I think that's how we both fall on that side of it, that it's kind of just hopefully just nice article to write, clickbait, if you will, for some.
Got some good views on that.
Did you?
They did. Whoever came up with that article got some views.
Yeah, Sheldon. Good for him. But yeah, we also, got into some other topics with some minor leaguers that we've had. The last show, I think we talked mostly about the minor league kind of recap and how they did and the guys that performed well. Just wanted to shout out All Gloves Off again, our new venture with our shows with us and with Lights Out. That will be on Tuesday night. Sirhan, who's on every other night talking boxing, soccer, and MMA and football. It's football season, obviously a lot of football talk, and then Football with Cheese as well. He does game previews, game recaps as well. So I think the Packers kind of struggle. He called it. He said, I think the Packers are going to struggle in Arizona, and did they? I feel like they
didn't do great. Yeah. I can find the score.
Anyway, he seems to be on the ball. He seems to know his stuff, is what I'm trying to say. He seems to call it out as it is. Even though he's a Packers fan, he must know that team pretty well, kind of like how we know our Red Legs pretty well. We know where they go west. Not necessarily the best.
They did win. They won 27-23.
Oh, they pulled it out. But yeah, I saw.
But they were struggling.
Yeah, I saw they were losing. I didn't follow up on it anyway. Well, that's not the point. We're going to be talking about whatever you want to talk about today. But before we get in that, how are you doing, Rick?
Doing good. It's weird feeling cold weather finally here in the Cincinnati area. I was looking at the lows for tonight, and I think the low's like 39. I was like, oh boy, I'm not ready for that.
Yeah, and all the rain.
How's things going over there? And the rain. Yeah, rain's nasty. I hate rain.
The rain was bad. It was kind of muggy all day. Not a day to be outside. Kind of a day to relax and hopefully
good nap day.
Good napping. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. So I don't know where you want to kick this off. I think, but right before we started the show, you had kind of a big article that I thought was a big article because it's a guy that we talk about a lot on this show because he kind of doesn't get his opportunities, he did last year, I guess, 2024. He had a amazing week. And I kind of have a question related to that. But like Rhys Hines is what I'm talking about. The guy that was setting records at AAA. What he had 24 homers this year, a bunch of RBIs, and got 43 at bats at the big leagues, right? So what do you do with that? Like 2025 seemed like a not necessarily. I mean, obviously you want to do well in the minors, right? It doesn't hurt to hit well in the minors, but it didn't seem like he got up to the majors, or he's not a Tito guy. I don't know exactly what it is. I guess I'm trying to say, like, what is your take on the Rhys Hines situations for the Cincinnati Redlegs?
It's weird. I feel like Blake Dunn got more at bats than Rhys Hines did this year, and I don't know. I feel like the biggest issue is that Hines doesn't really fit the Valaika mold. where, contact first, line drives, that kind of style, and that's sad if that's the reason why they're not playing him. I also do get that he has a very high chase rate and he strikes out a lot. This year he struck out, I think it was like 48% of his at-bats was a strikeout, which is high, but 2024, his first week in the big leagues, he didn't have a good year in AAA before that. Because I remember I had made some comments and I kind of got laughed at about it. I was like, hey, why don't we bring up Rhys Hines just to see what he can do? Everyone's like, yeah, but no, he's not ready. And then he comes in and he has like the most extra base hits by a rookie in National League history in his first 6 games. And, he hits, 2 home runs in his first 2 games, had a 2 home run game later on, had a grand slam against Miami, I think it was. And, he kind of fizzled out a little bit, but he still hit like 261 in his rookie year. So he showed that he can do it. It's just, I feel like last year he was kind of blocked because of Spencer Steer. Right-handed batter, outfielder, and then I don't know who else you would throw out there. They were kind of using Benson every day at some point for a long time in 2024. I guess trying to see what he could do, and that kind of backfired. And I feel like him and Benson together, oddly enough, are kind of the same player because they both hit right-handed pitching. And like with Hines, it's difficult because he's not your typical platoon player. He's a right-handed hitter that hits right-handed pitching. He can hit lefties, but nowhere near what he does versus righties, which is difficult to go with platoons with that, especially when you have a lefty that can mash only against right-handed pitching. So I don't know. But this year in AAA, I mean, he had the second 2020 home run in Louisville history. He hit 302, I believe. 302, 359, 563, 24 home runs, 21 stolen bases, 52 extra base hits, 83 RBIs, and he struck out the least in a season that was a full season in the minors too. The last time he had a number lower than this was his first kind of full season, but it was like a weird year. Like I think he had some injuries, but I think he only struck out like 83 times that year. So I think he can get better. He's still young. He's 24, or 25. Like there's, I don't know what they're waiting for, because if you don't use him, then you're just going to use up trade leverage too.
Yeah, they're kind of, they're kind of stashing them. It felt like at least this year they felt like they're kind of stashing them in the minors because either the opportunities didn't arise, the opportunity just to play regularly. Because I feel like when it came up that first exact time, end of May, right? Or mid-May, something like that, when they were really struggling, and we were like, finally, they're going to bring up Benson and Hines, finally, because these guys, they started off the year at Louisville just smashing the ball, right? Both of those guys.
And Marte,
yeah. But Marte was kind of coming off of that weird half season, coming off PEDs type thing, and you know what I mean? His same kind of thing though. But he was mashing. But those two guys, I think, were the first 2 call-ups, I want to say, for the Redlegs in terms of taken from the minors. But it felt like it took too long because this is also a month of April where they lost 3 straight games, losing 1-0, right? I'm not saying if you have Rhys Hines and Benson in the lineup in the beginning of April that you're going to win those games, guaranteed. But you at least maybe have a chance. You get a home run, you tie the game, go to extras. I don't know, anything like that. But that's
a couple missed hits or a couple rally killers.
Exactly. But that's besides the point. I'm not, that's revisionist history. The thing that I'm most interested by with the Rhys Hines situation, and Benson kind of a little bit as well, but Benson was on the roster kind of toward the end of the year, even though he wasn't playing for like a whole month, as you duly noted on this show, is that he seemed to just have what like the fans get excited about, the ability to hit, extra base hits, but he has the strikeouts. But guess a little bit of a tangent. Guess who has the 2 highest strikeouts as a hitter in their MVP seasons. The two top seasons as an MVP was this player won the MVP, and he has the two highest strikeouts totals as a hitter of all time.
Is it Ohtani?
Yes, Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani. I guess I'm presuming he's going to win the MVP. He's kind of
I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, 189 strikeouts this year, and then back with the Angels actually in 2016 or something like that, had 187 strikeouts and was the MVP of the AL. So we're talking about a guy that strikes out like a high percentage of the time. I don't know exact percentages. I just know that those are.
He just makes up for it by mashing the ball 496 feet out of Dodger Stadium.
But isn't that our argument for re-signing?
That's what we want.
Isn't it, like, I understand that it's not a perfect science that this is going to be a guarantee if they come and play and they get 300 at bats or they get whatever, 100 games. If they won't necessarily put up Ohtani numbers. I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm not saying they're going to even put up, like maybe even, like a 2 or 3 WAR type of player numbers. But they could provide you some extra base hits in a timely situation that may or may not help you win the game or at least tie the game or be competitive in the game, right? It might be garbage time home runs sometimes, right? Because that happens a lot with a lot of different scenarios and different situations.
All right, you want some top of the major leagues and strikeouts for this year?
All I know is that Ohtani had more strikeouts than Elly De La Cruz, so I think the Reds fans can chill out because Ohtani is not Ohtani's not 23. Ohtani's what, 30 years old, 31?
30, I think 30 or 31.
So like he's not still learning the game.
Right.
Ohtani is kind of mastered the game. If anything, he's learning to pitch still because he's hasn't been like a pitcher full time for a long time. But anyway, like I get it. Elly strikes out in bad situations. You know who's hitting 183 in the playoffs this year? Shohei Ohtani. Like guys struggle. Baseball is a weird sport. But anyway, I digress.
All right, so number 3 in major leagues and strikeouts this year is Kyle Schwarber.
Okay, a guy that the Reds fans want.
Number 4.
Okay.
With 196 strikeouts, Eugenio Suarez.
Oh my goodness. All right, now there goes our offseason.
Number 8. Presumably an MVP in the American League, Cal Raleigh.
Yeah. His number is actually
not great. Just his 60 home runs.
Like
he just mashes the ball out of the ball.
Yeah. I think he's hitting like 250 maybe. Anyway.
Yeah. And then it's not really helping my narrative, but
Yeah.
13th, Mike Trout, 178.
Mm.
And
he missed some time, right? Like he was injured a little bit this year.
Aaron Judge, 29th with 160 strikeouts.
That's a good year for Aaron Judge, to be honest with you, because he
usually strikes out a good number.
He's usually up there in like the 180, 190 range because he just, he's a big guy. His strike zone.
Matt McLean struck out more than Aaron Judge this year.
Yeah. Well, what I just took from that, Ricky, just to unfortunately kind of rain on my own parade, is that the two guys, the strikeouts that were really high up there that I thought
we're not going to sign them.
No, not
a chance. They strike out too much.
Not in Chris Valika's world. We're going to sign Gino Suarez and Schwarber. He'd rather, like with his cold dead hands, let you do that. But anyway, that's besides the point. I guess we're going to have to sign. Who knows? Does Bellinger have pretty good plate discipline? He might be in the running now.
I think he's up there. He does pretty well.
Okay, so hey,
he's outside of the top 25.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I guess to get back to the Rhys Hines situation is that, yes, it is kind of boom or bust. That is a type of baseball that kind of thrived from the end of Moneyball era to whatever this is, the new 2023, extra 3 inches on the bases, pitch clock era, I guess you can call it, where now defense and speed is kind of being accentuated, being promoted a lot more. I mean, defense was pretty good in the, what do you call it? The launch angle era, but they were able to shift the whole team on the one side of the field because they knew Schwarber only hits this side of the field, type of thing. But
all right. So Cody Bellinger is usually a very low strikeout player anyway.
Okay.
2025, he had 90 strikeouts
That's pretty good.
in 152 games.
How many walks?
57.
Okay.
29 home runs though.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
That's what I want.
Yeah. I was just remembering. I think I remember exactly. I think we had like a scoreboard stumper or had like a question for you. In 2024, there was like 4 players that were like everyday players, or at least played at least 130, 140 games that had more walks than strikeouts. Do you remember any of those? I remember a couple, and hopefully the other 2 come back.
I feel like Votto was one of them.
No, 2024.
2024. Okay. No.
Yeah, this last year.
I don't remember.
Juan Soto
That's
was
right.
one. I think there was a little guy in Houston.
Altuve.
Altuve was another. I'm forgetting the other 2, and I think actually one of the other ones was like Kyle Tucker, the guy he was with. I think he was with the Astros as well, but like he played like only like 50 or 60 games, so he had like more walks and strikeouts, and like, but he didn't really qualify. So I'm trying to think of the other guy who was doing it, but like it was like 4 guys in all of Major League. Luis, okay, that guy is a contact hitter like to the 100 degree. But anyway, yeah, that makes the most sense because he's never striking out, and when he does, it's very rare. But it just shows you that's baseball right now. Like I understand you don't want guys that are striking out, like you said, 48% of their at bats, but you're not going to get guys that are going to be Joey Votto level eye on the plate where their whole career they're striking out less than their walk. Right. So it's just I guess not really realistic to just keep guys in the minors just because you need to get your strikeouts down. Yes, you do. That is what the minors are for. But you're not going to get these guys that are Juan Soto. Those are literally 1 in a million. The Joey Vottos now are 1 in a million in today's game because the stuff's nastier. They throw it way harder. I mean, everybody, even out of the pen. And you're not able to just, be able to have, command of the strike zone as well. I wonder, do you think, just a quick question, do you think ABS will help the batters more, or do you think it's going to help the pitchers more?
Ooh, I think it'll help the younger players more and the pitchers overall more.
Really?
I think because you're seeing like guys like Ellie that take those pitches that are inside, and he's like, yeah, they're a ball, but the umpire calls them a strike. I think we'll get more walks out of Ellie, or potentially better at bats, but that's a good question. I think it might be even, but I think it's going to be better overall for both.
Yeah, overall, over a course of a season, it probably will even out, just how statistics work and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's going to advantage the hitters, at least the start, I would like to think, unless we're getting a lot of dumb challenges, right? Like, unless there's a bunch of guys that are just doing it just to either mess with the other pitcher to get his rhythm off, or I don't know, because it's going to be on the batter, right? It's not like it's coming from the manager or anything like that. So right. There might be some dumb some dumb players that just take the challenge when they probably shouldn't, like the top of the first inning in a situation that doesn't matter, as opposed to saving it for later in the game, is what I'm thinking may happen at the beginning. But I think overall, maybe the first couple months, I feel like it's going to advantage the hitters because they're going to want that honest strike zone. And obviously it's always a X conversation or whatever social media you have about the umpire scorecard, right? Like all the missed calls, all the things that advantage the other team or disadvantage your team. That's hopefully going to kind of even out.
Well, I feel like traditionally with the crying out for ABS is like you said, the umpire scorecards, where you're seeing. I follow this Instagram page. It's called Umpire Audit, and they basically, they show highlights of like the top 10 worst calls of the day. It's not even a week; it's by the day. That's how bad they can do it. And what's that umpire's name? Is it Buckner? JB Buckner? Is that his name?
Buckner.
Yeah, he's one of the worst on their list. And
Well, Angel
there's a-
Hernandez is retired. That's why
Laz
CB's
Diaz, is that his name too? He's
Laz
one.
Diaz is another one. Yeah.
Yeah, he they were like top two, and there was this one. I think the record is like 5.5 inches off the plate, calling it a strike, and there was like a couple.
Yeah.
Like it's bad. So I think because traditionally, like with the ABS, like you're seeing pitches called strikes outside of the zone more than you're seeing balls called inside the strike zone. So I feel like it could benefit the hitters more. But like you said, I think it will kind of even out.
Yeah, over time. I mean, how many over? And that was the argument for the human element, right? Is that eventually over time it's going to kind of all balance itself out. The baseball gods will give it back to you because they took it away from you before, kind of thing. And I guess some Reds, people are still waiting for their, because there were some bad calls this year. I'm trying to think of one example, but there was a bunch of them that were like, okay, it was way early, probably in the season, and you think they'll hopefully even out over the course of 162 games, but sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. That's it.
Yeah, and I just feel like the Reds, and not even only with that, is even with the challenge system, like they lose those calls that don't have irreversible evidence. They still call it against them. Like there was the play versus the Brewers in the final game of the season where Steer goes to third.
Yeah,
and they threw it. They called him safe initially, and there was no way you could just say, "Oh, he's without a doubt, he's out." They just go, "Oh, he looks like he could be out. Let's just call him out."
I honestly, I don't think it was even that. I think it's just like we're gonna punish this bad base running decision, so he's out.
Yeah, and like also like the human element too. It's like, okay, I'm fine with the human element, but there needs to be accountability, and there's never any accountability. It's like if I do my job bad. I almost went anti-kid show. If I do my job poorly, I get reprimanded for that. And you can't excuse calling a ball 6 inches off the plate a strike or 4 inches above the strike zone a strike. Or in Angel Hernandez's case, a ball 95 miles per hour, literally right down the middle, a ball. Like you can't excuse that.
No, that's that's there you go. You hit it on the nail in terms of good thing Angel Hernandez is retired because good grief. ABS.
Could you imagine his little? I don't know. I'm not going to go there. He's had some cases where he's tried to claim racism for not being in the World Series. It's like, no, dude, you're just really, really bad at your job.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, yeah. All right, I don't know what we kind of got off the Rhys Hines debate. I don't know if we want to go back on that or
we can put a little bow tie on it. I guess in a nutshell, I think if he comes out and has a really, really strong spring training, he deserves playing time. And I think Tito will give it to him. I'm not here to be like, oh, Tito doesn't have this leash. I think Tito has say. I don't think he has as much say as people think he does. I think because he said it in his press conference, you're never going to hear me complain about the roster. When you give me a team, I'm going to do my best job to get him out there. And we had a pretty poor lineup. And I don't think he's making decisions on who gets called up and who gets called down. I think he's just saying who's out there is I'm going to be in charge of him. Like, I don't think he's sitting up here like, hey, give me Rhys because he's hitting 300 in AAA. I think he's just like, I'm sure he wants to say, or like, any manager probably wants to say something. But like, then you also got Valaika and his approach. He's not going to like stand down against his hitting coach. Be like, hey, like this guy doesn't follow your philosophy. Let's bring him up. So I don't know. And that's probably just a well-rounded saying that he probably doesn't play in the major leagues next year. And he probably gets traded at some point next year if he gets hot in AAA.
Dang. Yeah. Interesting if that does come to pass. My thought is that Valaika is Francona's guy, right? He brought him from Cleveland. I think Valaika was with the 2024 Guardians last year, right? So, like, he was on a pretty good team that won 93 games for the Guardians last year, and this year they got in the playoffs again. So you know what I mean? Like it seems like maybe they're trying to force a hitting philosophy on a profile of, you know, minor league systems, or whatever it may be. Like, just, you know, like, you have to hit this kind of way, otherwise you may not get, you know, any opportunities at the next level. That's kind of like big
That's what it
picture.
feels like.
That's what it kind of feels like, right? I don't know if it's exactly what it is. It's kind of like the big picture again that we talked about in other shows. So it's interesting because like the counter example of that is Francisco Urbaez, a guy that I've been kind of digging into, looking at like, dude, his guy hits at every level, hasn't really got any opportunities at the major league level, and is now playing at the Winter Dominican League and is still hitting. So like, if there's a situation where he's coming out hot in spring training or whatever it ends up being, or the first part of the AAA season, like where is that? Where's that at? Like, you know, if we're gonna go like philosophy of line drive hitting and getting on base and not necessarily striking out a ton, Urbaez seems to fit that mold. So I'm kind of interested to see where that leads for Urbaez's career and for what the Reds do with him. So that's why I'm kind of looking forward to this coming spring training as well.
Yeah, Urbaez is interesting because it looks like, just kind of going through some baseball reference on him. He started out 2021 in Dayton, and then he played 68 games there, 14 games in Chattanooga, and then he finished the season 14 games in Louisville. And I think, if I remember right, that was around the time that Jose Barrero was coming up. So he probably got blocked at shortstop, second base ish there. And then he goes and plays in the Dominican Winter League in 2021/2022, hits 272. 2022, he starts out and he plays in Chattanooga, and then 2023 he played up to Louisville, and he hits every level, it looks like. Other than 2023, he kind of struggled. He had 264 average combined between both places, and then he goes to the Dominican Winter League again in 2023/2024. Doesn't get a hit, but he only has he's limited at bats.
Yeah, he didn't play that much. I don't know, it must be an injury or something like that.
Yeah.
Or
And then last year, 2024, he again, Chattanooga and Louisville, hits 263 in Chattanooga, 306 in Louisville, and then he plays in the Dominican Winter League again last year. This winter, 24 games, he only hit 182, or 24 games, 182, kind of struggled. And then this past season in AAA, it's 314, 381, 464, 4 home runs, 5 triples, 32 doubles. Like, he puts up numbers. Like, he's kind of like a Matt McLain type player.
Right.
I'm not sure how his defense looks, but I mean, I wouldn't be opposed seeing him as like an Espinal replacement should Espinal move on. Younger, probably more athletic. You're probably losing a little bit of flexibility defensively because Espinal can play third, short if he needed to, second base. He's played in the outfield a little bit. I don't know. What do you think? Because I do like his game a lot.
He's kind of not steadily climbing. He's had a little bit of, struggles in Dominican League, it looks like. But like this Dominican League, he's taken off after going in 314 for AAA Louisville, and like his strikeouts, 38 walks to 40 strikeouts in AAA. Like that's not Juan Soto, that's not Joey Votto, but that's pretty good. That's contact hitter. That's, like you said, a potential Espinal kind of in the mold of that. They don't seem to want to get off Matt McLain. Like, that would be the thing, is that maybe he's now, again, like you said, with Jose Barrero coming up in 2022 and around that time at second base, maybe that's what blocked Urbaez back then. McLean seems to be in the way this year and the previous years possibly. But if he keeps raking it, Dominican League, he went 4 for 4 on Friday night and was killing it. Like and then I think he got another couple hits to get the job done today for the Toros in the Dominican League. So like he's hitting. Like I just don't know if they're not seeing it or they're not sure exactly what they got with him if they do call him up. Well, we'll see. I really like to see him get a chance. I mean, it's the same old. We're talking about some other guys, but why not? Why not?
Yeah, I think he's earned it for sure. Especially off this past season, and he's not going to get any younger. He's 27. Like, play him now, see what you have, and who knows? Maybe he comes out and has a good TJ Friedel type run for you.
Yeah. Friedel started way later too. Why not? They're a bunch of guys that are kind of, I don't know how to say, like just Reds guys that come out and only do a couple good seasons. You know what I mean? Like a Mesoraco type of season where like they have their best seasons with the Reds and hopefully give them enough to get enough victories for that season or with that stretch that they come up. I don't know. It's an interesting question. I think they obviously have a lot of love for Matt McLean. They got Leo Balcazar also in the system, and it seems like because the way that they're moving him around Arizona Fall League, that Balcazar could play second, short, or third. So, and I don't know. I'm not trying to say Urbias is going to get again blocked by a Espinal type of Leo Balcazar, but Leo Balcazar is hitting as well in Arizona Fall League and playing almost every day down there, which is kind of crazy because usually they get rotated a lot, but he's doing well as well, just to bring him up. And I don't know. He's much younger. I want to say Balcazar's 21. So I think there might be some sort of ageism against Urbias, but hopefully he gets his chance first. Maybe, whatever it ends up looking like, and can hang on and hopefully keep a roster spot for as long as he can and help the team as best he can. That's my hope. And I don't know. I guess I'm starting to sound like a Ricky Logan, Austin Hendricks stan over here with Francisco Urbias. I'm bringing him up every show. And like,
hey, you know what? We need to put it out there.
Yeah,
we got to be the pro Francisco show.
Yeah, it doesn't really roll off the tongue as well, but we'll
it
do
rhymes. It rhymes.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. Any other things about Urbias or Dominican League guys or anything else? Like, I haven't seen Marte play yet. Although I will say the team he's on, the Gigantes, they have had all but one game rained out. So Carlos Jorge played in the first game on opening day on Tuesday or whatever it was, and they've rained out every single game down there for the Gigantes. So maybe he's just not getting a chance to play because there's no games. It's got crazy rain down there in that part of the Dominican. But yeah, that's another aside. You want to get into these questions or anything else before we get going?
Yeah, I did see that Ethan commented on our thing here. He said, will Keen Vu be in the Reds' top 30 prospect rankings to begin next season? I believe he should be. Yeah, I mean, he could. I mean, we're eventually, if everything goes right and Sal Stewart makes the team coming out of spring training and plays a few games, few weeks, he'll get bumped off that list and they'll make some adjustments. Let me see who is currently on there now that I could see coming off.
We agree that Keen Vu is probably starting again in Daytona. Like he started out real rough with Daytona. His whole story is really interesting, going 0 for 7 or whatever, except for getting hit by a pitch right after he got drafted this year, which he was a real underrated draft pick. Him and Neville, Mason Neville were like guys that like a lot of consensus that the Reds hit on those two guys in the draft, outside of Steele Hall. And Steele Hall is still many years away, but they really liked those draft picks in particular. And obviously Ethan likes him a lot too. So that's saying something because he's a big Reds minor league guy. Yeah.
So let's just say Stewart makes the team out of spring training. Rhett Lauder makes the team out of spring training. There's 2 top 5 prospects out of there.
Yeah.
There's a world where, let's just say, he has a really strong April, or even the way he finished the year.
Yeah.
Even Zach Maxwell, if he makes the team coming out of spring training and pitches, like he'll be off the list too. So there's 3 out of the top 30 where he could easily, like Luke Hayden could come off if he struggles still. And then there he is. So he's probably like 32nd, if I had to guess.
Right
He's
now,
probably like right there.
outside looking in. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, he hasn't played much baseball, so I'd really like to see what a full minor league season with him at Daytona, or if he gets promoted mid-season, looks like. Because he started he had like Player of the Week honors like the week after he goes 0-7, right? Like,
Yeah,
so it's, like,
his
crazy.
story is awesome.
Crazy turnaround, and he's definitely, the Reds definitely need an outfielder, right? Like he's definitely a guy that if he ends up being the dude, like you keep moving him up the system, because we honestly don't have a real big log jam of outfielders to kind of go through. So hopefully maybe he'll be in Dayton this year sometime. That'd be awesome to see. Or next year,
So,
sorry, 26.
He could be like he projects as a center fielder. So like you could see him, let's just say this is Friedel's last year and we move on from him either at the deadline or after this season. We trade him in the offseason.
Yeah.
Because I think we still have 2 more years of control with Friedel after this coming season. I think it's 3 altogether. I think 2029 is when we have the end of his control. So let's just say this is the year we move on. Hector Rodriguez comes up and he doesn't project as a center fielder. Maybe he projects more as a corner outfielder. And then in 2 years, you could have Keen Vu come up and be your center fielder in 2027.
Yeah, that could be. Okay, I'm looking up TJ Friedel. He's got, he's only 3 years in for his timing, his service time. So yeah, he probably got till 2029 with TJ. So, but yeah, it looks like this is Carrick Wright saying he'd have Vu in there as well, and he's saying that really not a lot of players above him, the complex level for sure, fire top 30 guys. Yeah, I can see it. It's definitely, it'd be awesome to see him continue to progress, right? I guess we're assuming a lot of progression. I'm not wishing that he's going to have like a step back, but you know what I mean? Adjusting to minor league baseball full time, maybe get a bigger scouting report on you or what have you. Like things happen, but we'd love to see him to continue to progress because, like I said, about our outfield depth in the minors, not necessarily great, but we'll take whatever we can get, man. If he can play center field, awesome. We can use
and the cool thing about like guys like him and Neville is like they have college experience, so if they come up and perform, they could be moved up rather quickly. So like, I don't think it's likely, but there's a world where he could be in Chattanooga to finish the year, and that would be if everything goes right, obviously. But I like his game. I like Neville's game. I think Neville is a top 30 guy. He is 13th on the rankings.
Already?
Yeah. So he was a 4th round pick, I believe. And he's
Oregon, right?
Yeah, 13th prospect in the Reds. So that's pretty incredible. He's ahead of Sheng-En Lin, if you can believe that.
Really?
He's just behind Arnaldo Lantigua and Adolfo Sanchez. Aaron Watson is the 10th overall prospect for the Reds. And then as of right now, Rodriguez is 9th, Edwin Arroyo 8, which I can see him moving up. Chase Petty 7, I can see him coming down. Cam Collier 6 probably goes up to like 2 or 3. And then Rhett Lauder, Steele Hall, Tyson Lewis, Alfredo Duno, and Sal Stewart. Alfredo Duno, if him being the team's number 1 prospect, let's just say in May, after Sal Stewart gets off the list, that's crazy. Like to be that far down, like let's just say like level wise, he's gonna be in Dayton. To be in Dayton and to be the team's number 1 prospect, that's saying something about how good he could be.
Well, you said Tyson Lewis is on there, and he just started.
He's 3rd, yeah.
So like that's
Steele Hall's 4th, but like I think you just project shortstops. Sal Stewart being a 3rd base, 2nd base / first baseman is kind of a rarity to be a top. Like you have to be like really good to be a top prospect. Usually it's your shortstops and pitchers, center fielders typically, and like the Reds have 2 first basemen / third basemen in the top 6, and Cam Collier and Sal Stewart, and a catcher.
Yeah, I guess the outlier is the catcher
It's
position.
pretty awesome.
So, but we'll take it, yeah, for sure. And yeah, you were talking about that wave, that more or less 2027 wave, maybe 2028 wave of like the Tyson Lewis's, the Deneau, like the guys from Daytona, basically kind of coming through the ranks. I guess I joke that like our best year already is going to be 2027. So I guess I'm kind of predicting as well those guys getting through the ranks and progressing as they should, or at least being at that time ready to come up. We'll see. We'll see. That'll be like 1 or 2 seasons in for, or at least I shouldn't say, about 2 seasons in for Mr. Sal Stewart potentially, and I don't know, Cam Collier might be around that time as well. So it'll be a good year so far in our mind's eye. We can celebrate our 2027 World Series already with Deneau, Sal Stewart, Mason Neville, Ken Vu, who else? Cam Collier,
Edwin Arroyo,
Red Lauder, yeah, Leo Balcazar maybe, a great team, Hector maybe right there. So I don't know.
Adolfo Sanchez,
Yeah,
Arnaldo Antigua.
That'd be crazy if they're on the team that quickly. Aren't they? They just got out of the DSL, right? They just got promoted themselves, right?
Yeah, I'm just playing.
Oh.
I'm just throwing out names now.
Anyway, talking about Balcazar and Cam, do you see them starting in AAA next year? Another question from our guy Ethan.
Not likely. Cam's a little different, only because I think he was projected to get there this season. Had he not had that injury setback with the thumb surgery, he probably makes it up to AAA in September. Had he had performed, and if he hadn't, he probably starts the year. But him not playing well with Chattanooga, but he's absolutely dominating the fall league right now. So there's a chance with Cam. I'm not gonna. Cam, I'll say there's like a 10% chance he starts in AAA. I don't know. It depends on what the Reds do with CES. Does he start the year in Louisville? Does he make the team out of spring training? The thing with CES though is he always crushes spring training, so like it's like almost like a false reading with him. But if let's just say CES figures it out and he gets promoted to the team, there's kind of a hole at first base. So maybe. But I like I said, I think a 10% chance with Cam. And Balcazar, he got called up pretty late in the year for Chattanooga, so I think they'll probably give him more time. But I think if he has a really hot April, I think he could be called up to AAA relatively quickly. And then we'll see, because they have a decision to make with him. There's an interest to move him along because he's Rule 5 eligible this year. So they'll have to protect him if they really value him. And it's kind of difficult to justify having a guy in AA on the 40-man who you see probably not being called up for at least another full season. So there'll be a decision to make with him. He most likely stays in AA though.
Same scenario for Edwin Arroyo, right? For in terms of Rule 5. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out with that. And Balcazar is making himself pretty flexible, like I said, in the Arizona Fall League, playing second, short, and third. A lot of third, to be honest with you, which I don't know if that's just because of need or they're really trying him out there, kind of like how they're telling the Dominican Winter League that Marte always got to play right field if they're not rained out, I guess. But, it's kind of interesting to see what will happen. I think Cam will start in AA as well. He had a shortened season last year because of his thumb injury in spring training. So I think they want him to start there and progress, hopefully.
To get he's only 20.
Yeah, to
he's
get
so young.
Promotion at like an All-Star break type thing. Maybe he makes another Futures All-Star game if he starts out hot again. You know what I mean? With the AA Chattanooga, we'll see. It's an interesting kind of. We're getting kind of a pile up in the infield again with some of our prospects and some of our major leaguers, especially with the trading of Ke'Bryan Hayes and the presumption that because he's a run saver and the way that Tito likes run saving defenses, that he's going to be there. And then, the Ellie situation that we can talk about, but I don't think he's going to be moving, at least for 2026, to the outfield or any other position. And then the McLean thing we hit on with, Urbias kind of getting blocked by McLean. I think the infield is pretty set. Like you said, the only one that is not written in stone is first base for the Redlegs right now. And that could be CES's job. That could be Steer's job, Gold Glove nominee. That could be Sal Stu's job. I don't know. That's a, we'll see. That's a spring training thing, right? They'll probably really figure that out in spring training. Heck, I'm even old enough to remember when Rhys Hines was trying out at first base and getting wasn't that this year?
That was back in May.
Yeah, when he got his 43 at bats or 43 plate appearances, whatever it was. So, and then and Carrick saying that first base he got Ruben Ibarra there, and Cam Balcazar. The first base in Louisville is interesting. I think we talked about Ibarra and we talked about Edwin Rios also at Double-A, that they're older guys that, again, like Rhys Hines and Benson, they're getting even less of a shot, and Urbias is getting less of a shot. So I don't know what the organization thinks about those guys in particular, except that proof's in the pudding. If they're not calling them up, they're not thinking about them, they're just going to be there kind of, I guess, log jamming the position a bit for some certain guys, especially Cam. I think they think Cam's the first baseman. He's been playing a lot of first base at Arizona Fall League, and they like him a lot, obviously, for his line drive hitting ability. Hit a heck of a home run on, what was that, Friday? Yeah. And everyone was sharing everywhere on social media. And not only that, he went 3 for 4 as well with 3 RBIs and a walk. So it wasn't like he's not a one-dimensional player.
He's a
very least
full package.
So the question becomes, what position does he play, right? We talked about this a little bit, I think, the last show with the minor leaguers. Third base is kind of locked up at the major league level, in my estimation, unless it's an off day for Ke'Bryan Hayes or he's struggling mightily and they really need to get somebody out of there or somebody in there to hit. But Cam might be the first baseman of the future, is my guess.
Yeah, I kind of have a hot take with Ke'Bryan Hayes. I think they're going to use him. Obviously, I think they're going to get the best out of him now with his defense. But I think they believe in his hitting long term. And I think they're going to try to, quote unquote, fix him and then deal him before he gets older.
Well, yeah, he's got that backload in the deal. His
contract is excellent.
It is right now, yeah. But isn't it like it's a 15 or 20?
No, his is, I think his is like a reverse front-loaded contract.
Oh, what am I thinking of? Look at it. But yeah, Carrick wants to train now, I think, is what I've been seeing. So, to get rid of that logjam going on with third base and potentially other guys coming up to get opportunities. I don't know. I don't know what you do with Ke'Bryan Hayes if he doesn't produce this year, right? Is that the thought? Like, but you're potentially selling low, right? In the back end. Like that's what you're kind of thinking is like,
yeah.
Oh, you're right. It's a club option in 2030 for $12 million. But you're right. It was kind of front loaded with $10 million, 7, and now we're on the $7 million per year for Ke'Bryan Hayes. Yeah, I don't know what you do with him, man, because, like, if he struggles, you have to sell low. His contract still is manageable, and maybe there will be a team that will take him if they really need defense, they value defense. If he wins a Gold Glove this year, I guess that adds value to him, right? Like to have a Gold Glover type situation.
So let's say he plays out this year, and he has pretty close to a league average year offensively, and is a finalist for a Gold Glove again. He'll be 29 this season. 2027 he turns 30. Let's just say he has another good year. He'll have 2 more years of team of control. He'll be 33 in 2030. So maybe you could dangle that out there. He's got 3 years of control, Gold Glover, and then I don't know. That's difficult because then you're kind of boxing yourself in to an aging player when you have a guy like Sal who could play third, Cam playing first, and then you also have to think about the other guys coming up too. You'll have eventually Tyson Lewis in a couple years, Edwin Arroyo potentially next year. Steele Hall within the next 4 years. That's all within his contract. Yeah, there's decisions to be made for sure. I don't know what they do, but like I see he's saying Sal to third base, re-sign Andujar to play first base, CES and Lux as infield utility players. I think they need to move on from CES instead of just using him. I think CES either needs to be used all the time or just not at all. He's younger still, I guess. He's what, 25? He's one of the older of the core prospects, but I don't know. I don't like stashing him at AAA, but I also don't like utilitizing him, I guess, if that's a word.
Yeah, he might get into like the Nick Senzel category where he doesn't have a position or a home, and it might affect his hitting. I don't know. It's a good question. That I think CES has this year to prove if he's a Cincinnati Red Leg. Like we talked to Greg Kuffner, Reds Daily 4, about this a lot, and he thinks that his plate approach is just not major league level. It's just looking for home runs, the old approach, which is the one we're kind of bemoaning, like about, well, Rhys Hines hits for the fences and all that. But it seems like CES's hole in his swing is just causing him to have way, way too much.
Yeah. CES's approach is swing at everything and hoping it's down the middle.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's swinging. Oh, I forgot. That's the thing. He's swinging at really bad pitches, really out of the zone pitches. His plate discipline is way, way bad compared to others potentially that could be playing or taking his at bats. And yeah, it's difficult because you want him to kind of try to figure it out at AAA. I don't know if the coaches at Louisville kind of feel that CES has taken those steps this year. He mashes, right? Like he's always got a highlight in him at AAA or even the major league level.
That grand slam he hit in Boston.
Exactly.
You know what that reminds me of, though? That's like this sentimental value is when Jose Barrero hit that grand slam in Boston, and then we never saw him again.
I don't know if you want to go down this route because I don't know if we put a bow on. I think Cam and Balcazar we're pretty much on the same page, thinking that these guys are going to start in AA at least the beginning of the year. But kind of on a tangent of that, why do you think, like, and maybe it's not, maybe there's other I obviously been following the Reds and all that for many, many years since I've moved here to Ohio now 15 years ago. But why does it seem like the Reds from time to time have these flashes in the pan? These guys that have the Rhys Hines week, that have the CES Grand Slam and the CES weekend where he killed, who did he do? I know Benson killed his former team, Cleveland, but didn't CES come up and mash one weekend and get Player of the Week this year? Or am I misremembering? But then there's other guys like Aristis Aquino. He comes up, mashes. Never heard from again. Maybe plays in Dominican League right now because I don't even
know where he's at.
And then like Derek Dietrich came up, flash in the pan. Who was the other one? Scooter Jeanette. That was the one I forgot. Yeah. Scooter Jeanette came up, had a crazy 4 home run game, but nothing really after that. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe I'm only remembering highlights, the highest points, and not remember what else they contributed.
So at least with Scooter Jeanette, he was an all-star.
Yeah.
So I'll give him a pass on that. But yeah, I mean, he had that one crazy year with us. He was a pretty good player for the Brewers, I think, if I remember right. But yeah, like what is that? Like,
or another one,
Aquino,
Scotty Schebler had one season.
So, Baseball Reference has Aristides Aquino. His last season was with the Reds in 2022. He hit 197, had a OPS plus of 65. If I go to non-major league stats, he is currently in the Dominican Winter League with Lisi.
Yeah, that's the team that Ellie played for.
And he has had one game, and he doesn't have any stats. 2025 Mexico League, he played in 70 games, hit 277, 15 home runs. You go the year before that, Dominican Winter League 163. The year before that same year in the Mexican League, he had 295 with 9 home runs. And then 2023, 2024 Dominican League, 230. So it seems like he doesn't really hit well in the Winter League, but with Mexico, he does okay. I have seen some highlights of him in the Mexican League just hitting bombs, but I mean, he's only hitting a handful. So, yeah, what happened? Like, I'll never forget Tom Brenneman going absolutely bananas when he hit that third home run. Oh, Aristides! Like, that was incredible. That gay series versus the Cubs was just unreal.
But there's probably examples at other, clubs in Major League Baseball that have these guys from time to time.
It feels like we have more of them.
Yeah, I don't get it. Maybe it's, obviously we follow it much closer, and we have a situation where we're really like day to day following every single thing that happens with the Redlegs, and it just ends up being like, man, these guys, if only they could do it 162 games. Obviously, it's easy to say, right? Out loud, real easy to say, super hard to do, because these guys are obviously going up against Major League pitching every single time, and it's like, dude, like, I don't know. It'd be nicer to have like, I don't know. Maybe I keep going back to this guy. It'd be nice to have this like consistent Joey Votto type player that you can depend on year in, year out for 15 years, and I have a great batting eye and play great defense. And wouldn't that be great to have a Hall of Famer at every single position? Oh man,
hey, that could be Ellie.
Well, the defense, man. I think I don't know.
I think he'll figure it out.
I hope so. I have more faith in him figuring out the strikeout stuff, to be honest with you. Learning his zone and whatnot. I think ABS will help him a lot because he gets some really bad calls. But slight tangent, his defense, he needs to make some strides and whatnot to really kind of win, not just win over me. I don't need really be that much to be win over. Maybe his own manager, right? Because his manager is a defense run saving guy. You can't fool him if you're throwing the ball away, right? Unnecessarily. Slight early tangent. He's still good though, and he'll have a bounce back year. Speaking of that, who had a really good year compared to him? I mean, no, it had a really bad year compared to him. It was in the playoffs. Bryce Harper.
Oh,
Bryce
really?
Harper, like he only had 3.1 WAR. Ellie had like 3.6. Like Bryce Harper had a bunch of strikeouts. He had more home runs. He had like 27 home runs, but he only had like 75 RBIs. Ellie had 22 and 86 or something like that. But like Ellie's better than like a guy who is like perennially put out there as like the face of baseball, or at least the best player on the Phillies. I guess unless you talking about Schwarber, but Schwarber's kind of a freak. He just hits home runs and that's it. You know what I mean?
Speaking of the Phillies, they've kind of been floating the idea Nick Castellanos either being traded or released. Reunion?
At what price? At what price? Is it like how like they have the NBA where guys get waived or cut from their team and they have to sign for like the veteran minimum? That's the deal I'm looking for Nick Castellanos. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what the veteran minimum would be, like $2 million a year, something like that. Like that I don't think baseball really kind of does it that way. But I don't know, man. I saw Greg's article saying that this guy's struggled all year, and he has. His like real big, I don't know, coming out to like the whole like United States baseball watching nation wasn't it last playoffs where he had a bunch of home runs in big situations. This year, not so much. This year it was Schwarber for the most part, right? Their pitching staff was great. I don't know how. All right, another slight tangent. I don't know how the Phillies didn't win more games against the Dodgers in that series. They pitched so well, and somehow they still lost that series. Slight tangent. But anyway, like I don't think Castellanos is the answer to the question that the Reds are asking, which is how does this make this team better? I don't think he does.
I agree with that. I think if he was coming back as like a platoon guy, cheap deal, whatever. I mean, he still hit 250 last year with all the struggles. And his best season of his career was with the Reds, where he was an all-star. Not saying it's going to happen again, but I'm not I'm not anti Castellanos. I'm just not. He's not my first pick, you know. And then I wanted to get to Williams' comment here. I did see another group of shows and people on Twitter kind of asking about Josh Bell, but he would be like a first base / DH. What do you think on that? Because I certainly have my opinion on that.
Talk about this one for like first base.
Yes.
The Josh Bell one's interesting. I don't know. I know just slightly a bit about him. Didn't he start with the Pirate? Wasn't he on the Pirates for a bit?
Yeah.
And then the Marlins. Like he's had kind of a little bit of
Padres, Nationals,
yeah,
Orioles.
He's a bit of
been around a lot.
Yeah, he's been a journeyman thing. I feel like I'm still following it to the same kind of comment of like veteran minimum, or if he gets like waived toward the end of the year, kind of like how we picked up Ty France, former All-Star, to play first base for a little bit. I don't know if you go out and sign Josh Bell. That doesn't, I don't know, that doesn't win the press conference for me, but that doesn't mean that he's not a good player. Maybe I'm discounting Josh Bell a little bit too much. He seems like a real like big bopper, Willie Mo Pena, left-handed bat type of guy from what I remember in my mind's eye. Like probably strikes out a lot as well and not necessarily gets on base significantly. So I don't know.
Oddly enough, he doesn't strike out terribly.
Really?
But he also doesn't play a whole lot of games either. This season he struck out 88 times. He walked 57 times. This was the most home runs he's had since 2023. He had 22 home runs this year. 19 last year. 2023 he had 22. He seems to be one of those like a team signs him, trades him at the deadline kind of players.
Missing piece.
Yeah. In his first few years with the Pirates, 2017 he had 26 home runs. 2019 he had 37. 2020 shortened season he had 8. 2021 he had 27, but he was traded to the Nationals. And then 2022 he goes from the Nationals to the Padres. 2023 he goes from Cleveland to Miami. So he's been everywhere. And I just think people are just expecting too much out of him. Because we're probably, with the Reds signing him, it feels like it'd be another Jeimer Candelario type deal. Not the same player. I'm not saying they're the same player. Similar age, similar body frame. Funny enough, they both played for the Nationals in their final team before coming here. I mean, I'd love to see a guy hit 20 plus home runs, but I don't know. I don't because with that, here's my tangent. When you sign him, you're taking at bats away from Sal Stewart. And I don't want that.
How about this though? If this comes to pass, which might get Carrick upset, if you can't sign Andujar, I mean, this is what I'm looking at here. Josh Bell made $6 million last year. Maybe you sign him for a little bit more than that, 6, 7, 8 million, whatever it ends up being. I don't think I mind that if it's like a 1 or 2 year deal with another option, kind of like how we did with Mr. Austin Hayes. I don't know. It's kind of a maybe. I don't like I said that possibly. I think he would be taking kind of like Andujar's at bats. Carrick's, I mean, I think he said better at righties would be a good platoon player at that price. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I guess maybe that's why I'm kind of changing my tone, especially now that he's pretty disciplined. 88 strikeouts in 140 games is not bad, especially for a guy who's a masher. We could definitely take that kind of plate approach in Cincinnati. I wouldn't mind that at all.
2024, he struck out 120 times between two teams. 2023, 134 times. 2022, 102. 2021, 101. 2020, 59. 2019, 118, 104, 117. So he's, I'd say, above league average in not striking out, I guess. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not anti Josh Bell. I want to see Sal Stewart develop. I don't want to see him get blocked.
Yeah, and I think that's what you're trading for is the now with a guy that can play now, like Bell and Andahar.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Carrick wants to mash them together into one player. It'd be one great first baseman, which would be kind of interesting to see that, just the AI of that. But anyway, but because then you got Andahar is good against lefties. You got Bell against the righties. Like that's a pretty nice platoon for first base. Again, like you said, it kind of takes away Sal Stewart. But you know what? I'm not terribly high on Spencer Steer. Maybe this spring training, Sal Stewart learns the outfield. He's young enough.
What? I'm
Athletic.
not anti that either.
So that way you got the best of all worlds in that one, except if you're a super Spencer Steer stan. But you know, if he wins a Gold Glove, does that like really mess up people's thoughts about him, or is that like
if he wins a Gold Glove and the whole thing's messed up?
I think it's messed up already. Cal Raleigh is not even a nominated catcher for anyway. Didn't he win Platinum Glove? That's like better than Gold Glove.
Trevino did too.
Well, but Trevino is much older, isn't he?
32
when he won it, 31 when he won
30,
it.
Yeah.
And like Cal Raleigh like 26, 27. But anyway, it's all right. Well, that was the what question were we answering there? I totally forgot.
Williams about Josh Bell.
Oh, it was off the sheet. Yeah. Good question, William. Really appreciate you tuning in as well. That's not about it. First base is going to be an interesting debate. I didn't think that we'd be talking about Josh Bell this much, to be honest with you, because I haven't thought about Josh Bell. I think he was on the 2023 Marlins that made the playoffs. I think he was that missing piece to make that Skip Schumacher team make the playoffs in 2023. So shout out to them.
Yeah, he also said I heard another rumor about the Reds, about them possibly getting Duran or Abreu. I think it's from the Red Sox, but I don't like the rumor of possibly trading Hunter Green. Yeah, William, we had a whole show basically dedicated
at least 45 minutes.
To not trading Hunter Green. And I tried to think logically and go, okay, I guess we can kind of go back to this. Who would I acquire if I'm trading Hunter Green? I want young player with experience and already extended. And like that basically points to like Julio Rodriguez. I don't see it happening. I don't know. I feel like
you're basically saying Paul Skeens. You're a young player with control, with experience, but is really good.
Yeah, basically, because I mean you're trading an all-star for prospects with team controls. Idiotic.
What?
Borderline asinine.
Here's a question. This is a weird question because it's just
right.
Would they do that? Would you trade Paul Skeens for Hunter Green because you have a more controllable contract in Hunter Green?
Cheaper?
It's cheaper than what Skeens is going to command. Man. Would you do that?
Yeah, but then we'll be in the same dilemma. We can't extend Paul Skeens.
We got to trade him again.
Yeah. I mean, I would. I mean, that's like one of the few. I'd be like, okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I don't know. Just a random thought. This is what we're doing Q&A. Can we just do random tangents and talk about Paul Skeens being traded for Hunter Green? Put that out there. Where's that clickbait?
Yeah. We'll write an article on it. Hey, I got an idea.
Hey,
if Gordon Whitmire can throw out dumb takes, so can I.
Oh man, if he's listening, he's gonna take that article and write it tonight. Should have said it out loud. Should have saved that.
Write it right now.
Should save that for the paywall for our stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Man, that's a good one.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope the Hunter Green stuff is just conjecture, just off-season mess, because that's what you do in the off-season, right? Before, during, and after the trades, just kind of throw out those hypotheticals. It's just concerning. Our main thing from the previous show, William, was that getting it from Sheldon is different than getting it from Gordon Whitmire, getting it from other, people that cover the Reds or random people that may not cover the Reds, but just
like
throw
me.
them out. Yeah, well, I'm not like it wouldn't be.
If I wrote that, you'd be like, okay, like why are we throwing this dumb take out there?
Yeah, or if it's like a Boston beat writer's like, hey, you know who would be great to get? Hunter Green. If they're writing it from their perspective, and it's like, yeah, okay, you're a beat writer for Boston. You obviously want to get one of the top young controllable contracts in baseball for a pitcher that could be a Cy Young winner down the road. Yeah, that makes sense. But to have it come from like the call's coming from inside the house. You know what I mean? That's basically what's going on, which is weird, but that's hopefully the end of that. Hopefully we don't have to talk about this into 2026 or ever again. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I guess I got one for you.
Yeah.
Will any Red win a award next season?
Next season or for the end of this season?
Let's go for next year.
2026? Yeah, I think Ellie could win MVP. But that's like, if Ohtani and the Dodgers struggle. So it's a very like hopeful take. Like I guess I'm hoping for the best season possible, because who else can really, basically go head to head with Ohtani for the MVP race? I guess you can get a Philly in there, right? I don't know who'd be the top Phillies player there. A Cub, like maybe if PCA has a decent year, he could challenge it. I don't know, Skeens. I don't know. Like there's a lot of there's like Ohtani, and then not a lot of other guys that really could be in that.
Ronald Acuna Jr.
Yeah, well, he was injured this year, so that him coming back will be, I guess, make it tougher. So I guess now I got to walk back my take. Now I think that
No, I agree with you though, because Ellie is the most electric other than Ohtani.
Yeah, I guess if I want to go for a silly but serious answer is Gold Glove, Ke'Bryan Hayes 2026. Because that's probably the most likely, but like, okay, yeah, sure, why not?
I'll give you a couple fun ones.
Sure.
Ellie's gonna win MVP, and Andrew Abbott's gonna contend for a Cy Young.
Yeah, I would say Carrick coming in with a Sal Rookie of the Year and Hunter Green Cy Young.
I'll give Abbott the longevity.
If Abbott can build and be better, even if he doesn't win the Cy Young, that's already a big W. Like, I think you voiced a little bit of concerns of like, we kind of know that sometimes Abbott hits a wall. Maybe he's broken through the wall this year. Maybe
His
that was
wall
it.
this year was short-lived. I mean, he pitched very well at the end of the season compared to others.
Yeah, he didn't look like he had the wear and tear on him that we've seen in seasons past of 24 and 23. And they're probably never going to do an innings limit on him, which is another one of our questions we can dive into, which is great because you want those kind of guys that you can hand the ball to every 5 days and say go as long as you can. And
yeah,
it's kind of weird because like the Dodgers bullpen is so bad that Yamamoto had to pitch 9 innings is my take. Like Dave Roberts is like, no, don't get anybody warmed up. Just keep going and just keep pitching, even if your arm falls off. But if Abbott could be that guy, could be the number 2, or if Green gets hurt, be the number 1 guy coming in the rotation. That spells that the Reds are going to be contenders in 2026, and playoff. Hopefully host a playoff home game, but at least in the playoff race the whole year. This sneaking in stuff is great for this year. Let's not
be the team that's being chased.
Yeah, let's go after the Cubs and the Brewers and maybe end one of their seasons.
Yeah, and then I guess a couple more Gold Gloves. I think Ke'Bryan Hayes wins Platinum Glove next year.
All right.
And I think TJ Friedel will be in contention for center field.
Okay.
And I like Carrick's Sal Rookie of the Year. I can see that. But I think Chase Burns is going to give him a run for his money. I think Chase Burns is going to not have the innings limit that we think he's going to have. And I think he's going to be just what's the Padres or the Brewers pitcher that came up, made the All-Star game, but then like
Wazorowski?
Yeah, I think he's gonna have like his kind of season and kind of be utilized as an opener a couple times, and he's gonna start, but I could see him coming out and having like a sub-4 ERA and potentially getting in the All-Star game just based off of him being electric.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, he's got the stuff for sure. It's just a matter of just getting it over the plate, not hopefully tipping his pitches like he did in Boston that one time. So
I got a tangent on this. So
let's go. Tangent time.
All right. So you remember how that happened, they say, with the tipping pitches. And I did see something to where the Red Sox utilize AI like more than anybody when it comes to like film breakdowns and stuff.
Really?
And then we see that apparently every single Reds pitcher was tipping their pitches versus the Dodgers in the playoffs.
Yeah, there was that. Yeah, I heard.
Do you
I saw
think
that.
that's the case, or do you think something's fishy going on? Because I watched Otani hit a breaking ball at his ankle 496 feet.
I'd have to look back at the tape to see the pitching breakdown, the sequences that led to whatever. They did kill Hunter Green. Like there was no doubt about that. But it wasn't really 2025 Hunter Green. That looked like a 2023 Hunter Green.
Yeah.
Getting shelled right off the bat. Where like I remember in 23 where he would throw his hardest stuff and it just got turned around because they saw it coming. So I don't know if it's just the scouting reports were that good, like you said, with the AI or whatever of it all. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know if we really like to talk about this subject to say like, oh yeah, we were tipping pitches. You don't want to be the team that goes, oh yeah, we were. Here's our here's the what led up to it. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like the NFL and coaches hiding their signals. They want like complete secrecy because they don't want anyone to know exactly what's coming. I'd have to look back and see. I'm not necessarily an expert on pitch tipping, but it wasn't great. It wasn't great what our pitching staff did in the two games, to say the least. I don't know. I have to take a look at it. I do like Carrick's question in terms of 2026. Who will be the most improved Red for 2026? And I don't know if that's like a guy that struggled this year, and comes out and does that, or as the year goes. Because like Spencer Steer probably is like our most improved in terms of defense in 2025. And I'm trying to think of any other nominees for Abbott was really improved from 2024 to 2025 in terms of his longevity and being a top line starter. But like guys in 2026, I don't know, man. There's a lot of guys that could bounce back.
I think the one that I want to see the most is Matt McLain.
Yeah, there's one. There's a big one. Yeah. To a smaller extent, Ellie. And that's kind of weird to say out loud at first,
Does it really roll off the tongue?
No, it's just he had one bad month, and it kind of like it was a
everything.
Really important time, and obviously his defense could be improved as well. I think stealing. Hopefully his bounce back is because of the injury that he supposedly had throughout the year. McLain's, I don't know what you can really attribute it to in terms of his struggles, other than coming back after missing a whole year and never getting into a real great rhythm and having, this like the fan base calling for him to be, option down and work on his craft and stuff like that, but never happening. It's a bit like the Spencer Steer just trying to play through it the whole time and still giving him the at-bats just to prove his worth. And, he had a pretty decent season. I think our guy, Nick Kirby, was talking about Tommy Edman, had a very similar type season. But I'm like, I don't know if I'm looking at Tommy Edman to be like an everyday second baseman for the Dodgers, right? Like, I don't think he's that important to that ball club, but he definitely is not. He didn't have like a season where you can give up on him, right? Like he had a season that he struggled mightily, but inside there's a good player that's going to have maybe a little bit slight better average. Like what was the comparisons that Clay Stoden was kind of really looking at? Like Tyler O'Neill was more of his comp rather than a second baseman. It's more like a streaky outfielder. Like hopefully we get to that type of Matt McLain. 20 homers, 250 average, stealing maybe 20 bags. That kind of 2026 I think is within range, within it's I think it's attainable.
Yeah, I mean you can't get a whole lot worse than what Matt McLain was this year. He was a straight 0 WAR player, so I thought he was a whole lot worse than that. I thought he was a negative WAR player, but I guess his defense made up for that. But he had 112 hits in 147 games. He had 106 hits in 89 games in 2023. To kind of give you a little thing there.
He came out hot.
He had a 53-point fall off in his OPS plus. He was 127 to 74. Yeah, and his OPS dropped by 220 points. His slugging dropped by 160 points. His on-base percentage went down by 57 or 0.57. His batting average went from 290 to 220. So everything about his year was just worse. He only walked 55 times. He walked 31 times in 2023. So I don't think he's ever going to be 2023 again because he's going into his age 26 season. I'm not saying he's old. He's not, but he's getting close to what would be his prime. And I worry about the longevity of him. Hopefully he can just put together, because he played pretty healthily this year. He had that little hamstring issue at the beginning of the year. And it feels like that's what derailed his season because he started the year out hot. We were like, oh, McLean's back. This is what he is. He looked like 2023 McLean. He was hitting home runs and walking and excellent defense. There was that game versus the Rangers where him and Ellie hit home runs. I think they went back to back. I think
the torpedo era of early Delancey.
Yeah, and Ellie hit 2 home runs that game, which was awesome. And I felt like, this is what these guys are. I mean, the rest of the team's going to figure it out, and we're gonna be great. And it turns out Ellie was the only guy doing anything for like 3 months. And I don't know. I just feel like, my candidate for comeback player of the year, and he could come back and win the award, funny enough, is Matt McLain.
Yeah. I'm going to shout out some other guys that had really good improvement in 2025. Our guy Connor Phillips, shout out to him. Real big bounce back year for Connor Phillips. A guy that I hope has a bounce back year in 2026 is Chase Petty. He really struggled this year and kind of struggled then in the minors as well. Kind of after that, really hoping his 2026 is much better, because that'd be awesome to have him. Because you can't never have enough pitching. I think is the phrase. So if he's good to go and he's kind of got his stuff figured out, that'd be awesome for this pitching staff. I guess another kind of smaller, we kind of know that I think he's going to have a pretty good I like to think he's going to have a good 2026 because his Arizona Fall League has been pretty good. Is Rhett Lauder? Obviously he didn't pitch much at all this year for the minors, or he wasn't in the majors at all because of his injury. But I think we can kind of safely assume Rhett Lauder is going to have at least a decent bounce back year, based on at least the small sample size we've got in Arizona, and hopefully that continues into spring training next year. And we'll be talking about Rhett Lauder possibly being in the starting rotation, maybe.
Yes, it's funny. Chase Petty's younger than both of those guys.
You serious?
Yeah.
Dang. That's crazy. Was he 21?
So he's 22. Rhett's birthday is March 8th, 2002. Chase Burns is January 16th, 2003. So he turns 23 next year. Mm-hmm. And then Chase Petty, April 4th, 2003. So he's 3.5 months younger than Chase Burns.
That's great. So he still got lots of time. That's why I hope.
That's why I'm not giving up on him just yet.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think that the Reds really like him too, and they, even our favorite catcher Trevino has spoken very highly of him in the past, and I'm sure he's not the only one. So that's hopefully a good 26 for those guys, and will lead us to the playoffs again. That'd be awesome. I don't know. Anything else you got? I think we got a question here from William again, but I was looking through our questions as well. What does Cam Collier's 2026 look like?
I think he starts out in Chattanooga, hopefully healthy, building off this fall league performance, and just absolutely rakes. Starts out hot like he did last year in Daytona, and he eventually gets called up to AAA. And in my opinion, I think if he has what I think he could do, I think he has a Sal Stewart year next year, to where he goes 3 levels and he goes double A to triple A to the major leagues by the end of the year. I think he's still so young. I mean, he'll be 21 next year, but he's got the makeup for it. He's that good. And funny enough, his swing profile fits the Valleca mold, but he hits with a lot of power. And his power wasn't there this year, as in terms of home runs. Just, I think the thumb injury had the issues with that. And I like Cam a lot. Hopefully they don't move on and trade him for somebody. If they do, hopefully it's for the right guy. Because I know there was some rumors last offseason for Luis Robert. They were mentioning Sal Stewart, mentioning Cam Collier, mentioning Chase Petty, mentioning Edwin Arroyo. I don't particularly care for that, but I want to see Cam in a Reds uniform. Just seeing him in the fall league Reds uniform looks pretty cool. So I think probably realistically he probably finishes next year in AAA and then fights for a team spot 2027. But there's a chance he goes out and just balls out, and he kind of forces their hand.
Yeah, the main reason being is that swing profile, man. Like, if they are true to their word, Valleca and company, and it's also answering this question from Carrick talking about who I want to see most next year is Cam's season for sure, because I think he's closer to getting promoted to AAA than staying in Chattanooga all year, in my opinion. And if you're in AAA, then you got a chance to get called up again. Obviously, I don't know if he's going to get the Sal Stewart treatment in terms of being kind of the fast track, getting the Marte fast track, but it's a possibility. Injuries happen, opportunities arise at the big league club. It might be a September call up, possibly like Sal. I think if they're true to their philosophy, he's the guy they hold up and say, yes, if you want to play for the Reds, you hit like this, you have the plate discipline like this. I guess his defense is the biggest kind of question, and what he does at first base. If that's where he's supposed to be, or where he's going to be.
Pretty good there.
Okay, so he might have all the boxes checked, at least in theory. Now we'll see how this season plays out. That's the biggest thing, and I think this guy Starlin Torres is one of your guys that.
Yeah, I was covering him a lot for the minor league stuff with RedsTalk.com. I'll give you one guy at every. I guess I'll try to do a pitcher and a position player at every level that I want to see.
All right.
So in the Dominican League, I really want to see Iker Rodona build off of this year. I mean, he was a Dominican League All-Star his first year. He'll be 18 this year, so we could potentially see him in Arizona at the end of the year. And then position player. Oh, man, that's good. There's a lot of really good young Dominican League players. They're going to have some signees this year, too, in the winter. So we'll see what they get. I really want to see Angel Celillo. We'll see what he can do. A couple other names I'll throw out. Wanderlei De La Cruz, Libert Zaponte. Yeah, there's a lot of guys. ACL, I would like to see. I'm going to assume that's where Steel Hall goes. Yeah, I feel like Steel Hall is going to go there, and then the pitcher they got, Aaron Watson, probably debuts there. He was a high school guy. And then for Daytona, I really want to see Tyson Lewis, him in a full season where we can actually watch games. Pitching wise, he probably gets moved up, but I'll go with Ortiz. Yeah, I was thinking Jean-Pierre Ortiz. He's probably in Dayton to start the year. I'm not sure if the two guys that were drafted return there or not. Miller and what's the other guy's name? I can't think of his name, but they were drafted this year and they debuted in Daytona. And for the Dragons, Alfredo Duno. I mean that's exciting. Just to be able to go to his games and see him play in person. That's gonna be awesome. And Jean-Pierre Ortiz, him pitching, he's probably gonna be in Dayton. So I'm excited about that. And then for Chattanooga, I'm not really sure about their pitching because they had a lot of older guys this year.
Yeah, Jose Acuna, right?
Jose Acuna probably. Who is the other guy who pitches for Dayton? That could be
Luke Hayden.
Him too, but who is the one that had a really bad year?
Well, Surinels got traded, so he's not coming up.
Man,
We're talking about Nestor Laurent.
Yes, Nestor Laurent. He could potentially be in Chattanooga. I think that might benefit him too, just getting out of there.
Yeah, wow.
And then hitting wise, we're probably going to see Ryan McChrystal in Double-A. This is all like off the top of the head. I have no idea who's getting called up. And then Cam for sure, probably Double-A start the year. So him. And then Triple-A. I want to see Chase Petty build off. And then I want to see Edwin Arroyo. I want to see what he can do in Triple-A. And I mean, there's one guy that I got to bring up. Austin Hendrick. I want to see how he does in AAA if he's still on the team.
Yeah, he's Rule 5 as well.
He's one step closer to that debut. I will find a way to get to that game when he gets promoted. I'm telling you, I will find a way.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, why not? Yeah, don't forget Trevor Kunsel down there in the chat as well.
Trevor Kunsel.
Shout out to him. So yeah, there's a lot of guys. We're gonna be watching the whole minor league system basically this year, as Carrick will as well. Honestly, he's a big minor leagues guy. This question is one I wanted to get to as well. If the Reds don't bring back Emilio Pagan, even though he said he's wanting to run it back, and I have a strong inkling that he's kind of a guy that may take a discount or maybe just take, kind of whatever the Reds offer him. But if that isn't the case, what do you think happens there for the closer spot?
It's a good one. I think the obvious choice would be they go with Tony Santillan as their closer. But if they go crazy, there's a world where Graham Ashcraft's their closer. There's a world where Connor Phillips is their closer. And shoot, who knows? Luis May and Zach Maxwell might fight for that role as well. They got some flamethrowers, and I think as far as closer mold that I like with a really good pitch mix, I really like Connor Phillips's mix with that fastball cutter sweeper. I like that a lot. But then you see what Zach Maxwell can do, where he just thumbs down. That would be electric to shut down a game. And then Luis May, he just he had the fastest pitch in Dayar Park history, 102 or something.
Yeah, I was 104.
104, yeah. So I mean, they could go closer by committee and just rotate all them guys in.
Yeah. I think you'd like to have a guy.
You would.
You'd like to have not that. A situation where you're like, oh, shoot, we used Pagan in the 7th. Now we got to use Jabot in the 9th, an opening day type of situation. You know what I mean? Because that way you're not mixing up your bullpen and what have you. Yeah. I really like. I mean, it easier said than done. But you're right. I think the opening day starter for March 26, 2026 is Tony Santillan. If Pagan is not back. He's got the guy with experience. He's got the mentality. He's got the confidence of the manager as well. The guy that I would like that you had mentioned, especially if there's easier said than done, if he can replicate that Milwaukee outing a lot, Connor Phillips, my goodness, that stuff just jumped off. I mean, everybody on the national game on Fox on Saturday night all saw that, and that has to be a huge confidence booster for him. that pitch mix he threw out there. It just, and usually the Milwaukee Brewers are super disciplined team. They foul off pitches. They couldn't foul off his stuff. That's how good his stuff was. Like they were just 1, 2, 3 done. Not if maybe not right away throwing him in that closer role. Obviously would be. I don't think it would be a good idea. But if he's the setup man and he earns that spot eventually, that'd be awesome. Just for his story as well, to basically come from a guy that rebuilt his whole pitching career after he debuted late in 2023 and all 2024 went to the ACL complex and just rebuilt his pitching. It's a great story, and hopefully the guy can be a very productive player for these Redlegs the next couple of years.
Yeah, he's probably my favorite story from last year. Him and Marte both just like you said, the 2023 he came up as a starter. He was the player to be named later in the Winker and Suarez trade, and he came up, looked okay, and then he had a really dominant outing starting. I think it was the Seattle game. I think, if I remember right, towards the end of the season, Marte hit his first home run that series. I don't know if it was the same game, but yeah. And then, kind of played with fire. They had to start him towards the end of the season. We were fighting for our playoff lives, and he goes out and lays an egg. He goes basically a case of the yips. Just, I think he threw 12 straight balls to start the game, or 9 straight balls to start the game.
It was rough.
It was rough, and then he got hit, and then he goes down to Louisville last year. Just couldn't get it going, and then they sent him to the comp league. Basically said, "Hey, man, we're gonna figure this out. You're gonna have to rebuild everything." And then they convert him to a reliever this year, and I think that just kind of got out of his head. Said, "Hey, man, we really believe in you, and we trust you even more to be in late game situations." So I think them believing in him just it did the trick, and I think the same can be said about Marte. Just basically getting a case of the yips at third base, and they said, "Hey, man, like we believe in you. You're a future cornerstone piece of this team. We need an outfielder. Go try it out." And then, funny enough, you can make the argument that both of those players kind of saved the season this year, with Phillips's outing on that Friday night game on Fox, and then Marte's catch to avoid the sweep versus the Pirates.
Yeah, it's great stuff, and it's such interesting because a lot of these guys that become relievers, have that adage of being a failed starter and whatnot. But I don't know. Carrick's kind of thrown out there. Does he have a possible, going back in the rotation type of thing? Especially if he's worked on a couple more pitches that could make him possibly a guy that can be, throwing 5 or 6 innings instead of just the one type of thing.
Yeah. I don't think I'd rule it out, but I really like what I see out of the bullpen with him.
Yeah, and I think the mentality also kind of is there too, kind of like Ashcraft as well, because Ashcraft was kind of, he was kind of not necessarily pushed, but he came up through the ranks and was a really good.
He had some really good outings.
Yeah,
in 2023 as a starter, Ashcraft, and I think if I remember right, it was right around the time his grandma had passed, where he really kind of started the struggle starting. And I don't know. I don't know what happened. I think there's more to that than just that. But it's like timing wise, it seemed like that was kind of like a triggering point where he had to take time off to think about other things. And I think, I don't know. I like Ashcraft in a bullpen too. I think him and Phillips have like a really similar approach, I guess. Just I think Phillips has more breaking ball ability with his sweeper. I think, doesn't Ashcraft throw a slider? He's like a sinker, cutter, slider guy.
I think so.
I like that. That's closer stuff if he can figure it out. And I mean, if you could have let's just say 6, 7, 8, 9 as Mayer, Maxwell, Phillips, Pagan, Santion in any order. Like that's pretty good. And that's not even counting Ashcraft. Or if you go out and sign a lefty. Or
Sam Mole.
crap hits the fan and Lodolo gets moved to the bullpen, like stuff
Yeah.
like that. I mean, like you're gonna need a lefty. I guess you can't rely on Brent Suter every time, but
Yeah. I think Kerry was talking about he was moving the pen because of finger numbness. I think it talked about Ashcraft back then when he was, I believe that's what he was talking about, but I'm not sure exactly what ended up happening to Ashcraft because he seemed to be topping out as a starter for a lot of 2024, and the move seemed to kind of make sense because of how intense his personality can be. That you put him into a spot where he can, just go one inning, throw 13, 10, 15 pitches or whatever, and be able to get the job done there. I feel like he had some rough spots toward the end of the season this year, and hopefully he can kind of figure that out if he is to be a reliable guy out of the pen. Tito definitely has his guys, right? And I want to say Barlow's unrestricted free agent, right? So he's not coming back, if I'm remembering right. So it's Santillan and Ashcraft and Phillips potentially, and maybe Pagan. I don't know. Well, it'll be interesting to see how they shape up the bullpen because you're right. They probably need another lefty. I don't know if they're going to go internally. River San Martin's pitching for Lisi as well down there in Dominican League. So, and he's been in the system for a long, long time. So maybe he's a guy that they use for a little bit. And if he's serviceable, they keep him around a little bit more. We'll see. And yeah, they said Carrick's saying that his fingers are starting to go numb after 20 pitches or so. Yeah, that's not a good feeling. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a mechanics thing or whatnot. Oh, the question I had for you: do you think that do you think Driveline was involved with Connor Phillips at all? I can't remember the story was with him. I'll have to kind of look that up as well. Kind of sorry to throw that in your lap.
No.
So I started looking it up on the Googles. But I feel like that was the situation. That's what the Driveline's the company that Trevor Kunsel used when he started to become a serious pitcher in the minor system. And the guy that runs it, I want to say Kyle Body, was on an interview with Reds Daily 4 real recently this past week, and it was a great interview. Lots of insights in terms of what he looks for in pitchers and whatnot. I'm just kind of going on a tangent here because it was a really good interview. It even had a little story about the Castellinis being very generous during the COVID year, still paying coaches even though they couldn't bring them back, giving them their full salary that was under – because I believe Kyle Body was the director of pitching for the Reds org, I believe, back then. Yeah. And also some other stories about just like he'd rather like teams draft a guy who's pitching like 90 miles an hour either in college or high school and has pitchability with multiple pitches or 3 or 4 pitches, and rather develop that guy to try to have him throw 95 to 98 to maybe even 100, as opposed to getting the high schooler who's maybe just only focused on throwing 97 with his fastball and just trying to take that guy and try to make him into a pitcher, if that makes sense. Like they're trying to rethink how we incentivize developing pitchers in the younger ages, because that's been a hot debate, obviously, ever since now we're starting to see all these flamethrowers coming from everywhere. Is now it's starting to trickle down to the younger ages that they're throwing harder and harder younger, and that's going to get you the first round draft pick, right? Body's kind of got the reverse. He's like, no, get the guy who can pitch and then strengthen his mechanics to get him to the point where he can throw those hard pitches, or at least throw harder, major league like speed.
His prime example was the guy from the Yankees who I think he said he was throwing like 89, 90, topping out, but he had all the mechanics there. And then you see him now, he's hitting triple digits.
Yeah.
So
Cam Schlittler.
Yeah, that's who it is. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great example because he pitched great this postseason for the Yankees, even though I don't like the Yankees that much. But
yeah,
shout out to him. And he was a Driveline guy, you said? So,
yeah. I think just kind of doing some quick Googling, I think they said that Connor Phillips did help with Driveline momentarily. I don't think
Okay.
they said he was down there for a while.
I don't know why I had that memory. Maybe it's getting old, man. You get 40, start to remember things, or things start to like glom together that probably shouldn't, and you're like, well, that. I just felt like that was he went to somewhere and he got his mechanics fixed, and Driveline's kind of they've got coaches in all sorts of parts of Major League Baseball. You know what I mean? Not necessarily guys that work directly for Driveline, but worked for Driveline at one point and are implementing their best practices, you know what I mean, to help these guys get to the next level. So.
Yeah, whatever happened, it worked for him, for Connor Phillips.
Yeah, we'll take it. We'll gladly take it. And I don't know exactly. Hopefully, I think we got a couple suggestions of guys that should go to Driveline, Christian Lopez and Nestor, your guy Nestor Laurent. That'd be nice, I guess, to help on their mechanics and their strengthening their arm and probably is a whole holistic thing, working with the whole body to try to get to that top out speed. I remember watching before we interviewed Trevor Kunsel all the like different workouts and stuff like that they did.
Yeah,
and he mentioned in our interview as well, like they wouldn't push you. They try to get you to that red level or wherever the gauge is, like to try to top out, but not like try to overdo it. Like they were just trying to, you know what I mean? They're trying to do the best. They're trying to not have these kids blow out their arms. They're trying to have them be sustainable pitchers in whatever level they end up achieving, but not necessarily trying to, you know what I mean? They're not trying to turn this into some sort of like pitching mill where they're just cranking out these guys so that they can throw the hardest as possible. And then whoever has the physical tools to actually do it, graduates from the program, but they're not leaving all these other players in their dust.
Yeah, he said for the example for the Reds was Carson Spires. He threw 88, and then now you're seeing him throw 93, 94. So that's, they're not trying to get every guy to throw 100, it seems like you said. It just seems like they're trying to get the most out of them.
Yeah, and if they've got, I think the word he said is pitchability. If they got the ability to pitch, you should probably nurture that, right? Like that's why we are really we're not selling the stock on Chase Petty, because we know he's got the stuff, he's got the ability to pitch. It's just maybe it's a mental thing, maybe it's just seeing the game in a different way, maybe just having a little bit of rest this offseason and coming back strong in 2026, and we'll see what spring training is going to be interesting this year. I'll say that.
Yeah, this is going to be a really pivotal year all the way around.
Off season, you mentioned that this is going to be a huge off season to see if they're serious. I think all the Twitter opinions are already flying. A lot of people out there saying if we don't get Kyle Schwarber, we're not a serious organization. Like,
you can't say that. As much as I would love Kyle Schwarber or Suarez, like you can't say that. Now you got to do something, but I don't know.
Josh Bell one came out of nowhere. I don't know where that came from, but I think Chatterbox talking about it. But like, well, I'm gonna take a flyer, right? Take a flyer.
Yeah, I mean, if you get him for less than $10 million, like why not?
Yeah, get him on like a Austin Hayes type club option, neutral option type deal in the second year or third year, whatever it ends up being.
Do like 7.5 this year with a club option for like $16 million or something.
Yeah, I'm already
trade him.
Already declining it already.
Yeah. You're already trading him at the trade deadline.
Yeah, Brad Meyer and Nick Kroll are like, club option done. All right,
and traded,
and it's gone.
All right, I guess we can end it on this. Do the Reds bring Suarez home? Or should I say, should they bring Suarez home? Because that grand slam he hit.
Yeah, I know. That's what got me.
That energy around that, just, seeing the different camera angles and the postseason atmosphere, and gosh, I want that here so badly.
I think we got a shot. Now I got to check the scores, because now I think I saw the Blue Jays were up. I think we got the best shot at getting Suarez. Oh, they're up 5-1. It's going Game 7. Is if the Mariners win the World Series, because then they're like, nah, we don't need Suarez again, because we're not pushing to win the World Series anymore, right? If the Mariners go to the World Series or lose in Game 7, if that should happen, that I think he comes back as a Seattle Mariner, because I think they got pretty decent payroll there. Like they're not pinching pennies over there in Seattle. So I think if they win the World Series, they say thank you for your service, Gino. Thank you for your service, Josh Naylor. We've got Cal Raleigh and Julio. We'll be good, even if we don't win the World Series next year or the next 2 years, or whatever their organizational timeline is. I think that's the best shot. But if they lose, they might look to re-sign him.
Yeah, I would love to see him back, but then like he's not going to be number 7 because Spencer Steer's here.
Trade him just to get his number back.
Just to get his number back.
Well, there's a lot of guys that do this, even in like the NFL and hockey and basketball. They'll like they go a little bit overboard in some situations, because like Ohtani even did this. Ohtani gave like a car to Joe Kelly when he came to the Dodgers last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like some guys that have the means are gonna like sweeten the pot. I don't know if that means Gino will like give Spencer Steer a car or something, but maybe. Who knows?
Here, Spencer, go to Jeff Ruby's.
Yeah. We'll go to dinner on me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good
Get all the
question.
steak burrow you want.
Yeah. When you said the strikeout thing, that made me go,
Yeah.
nope, dang it.
It makes you worried.
Or just not worried because he's a bad player, worried because Velika and Fried
Yeah, that's what I meant too.
Not worth the squeeze. The juice not worth the squeeze. And you know what? Whatever. Like the guy hit 50 home runs. Tell me the last Red to ever do that.
He came close.
Right. He had 49. That's why I said the last guy hit 50. I don't like I guess now I'm starting to think in my own mind. Has there been a Red that hit 50?
Teddy K, wasn't he?
It's Kluzinski back in the 40s?
I know that the team record's 55, right?
All right, now we got to Google. Hold for Googling. Here we got character George Foster.
That's right. Yep.
55? Okay. The last one hit 50 home runs is on the Big Red Machine.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's time for the new Big Red Machine.
Yeah, Suarez leading it.
All right, so the top ever. Oh my God, this is so sad. You got George Foster had 52. Suarez had 49. Kwasinski had 49. He also had 47. Dunn had 46. Greg Vaughn had 45 in 1999. Johnny Bench had 45. Adam Dunn, Ken Griffey, George Foster, Johnny Bench, Tony Perez. That's your top 14.
Okay. That's not a bad list. It's not a bad list. Like I was thinking it would be worse than that.
Yeah, but you're seeing like the 50s and 1970 and only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys, 6 guys total in the 2000s to have 40. And it's the same players. Dunn and Griffey.
Yeah, but we already talked about this. Like, they haven't had a consistent power bat for a while. Outfielder especially, right?
Well, since the 50s.
Yeah, well, apparently.
If you go back and look at their record holders, Joey Votto had 37 in 2010. That's like their highest.
So that's why the fan base has been crying out for a power hitter. It's not because they I don't know, are just looking for just rally killers left and right, but like we're looking for a guy to put it in the stands and get the fans up on their feet 50 times a season, or like 37 times a season, whatever.
Like I've been thinking about that rally killing thing. Like,
oh gosh, shout out Barry Larkin.
What? I love to get him on just to see what his mind, like, did he mean to say that? Like, did he really mean to say that they kill rallies?
Yeah.
Because like, you know what else kills rallies? Putting the ball in play and grounding into a double play.
Yeah, well, your take should be exactly what we should push back on every time. They talk about home runs being a miss hit. So is grounding into like a double play. So like hitting the ball down into the infield where the defense is. That's a miss hit as well. Like unless you're purposely trying to ground into double plays to whatever that. Anyway, that's it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I was just listening earlier. My oldest son, just for some reason, he loves listening to old like Reds highlights on YouTube. So he had
Educating himself.
yeah, and he had some game on earlier in the year where Espinal came in a late game situation. And I don't know what happened in the video, but what John Sadak said, he's like, yeah, he doesn't really have the power, but he puts the ball in play a lot, and that's what you want. And I'm thinking like, yeah, but he also had, if I remember what Greg put on Twitter back in like June or July, he grounded into like 9 double plays before June.
Yep.
Like that's a lot. So
twice, 3 or 4 times a month,
especially for his playing time, like that's a lot. And
that's crazy.
He's not miss hitting it the other way, because when he does miss it, he pops out to left field.
Yeah, it feels like a whole nother episode. We can keep going down. I feel we did this. We did the lambasting of the philosophy and the player profiles that we have this big league club. Yeah, like I said, 2020 this offseason into 2026 is going to be a big one to see the direction of this ball club. If they follow their own philosophy, or they're going to be a bit hypocritical, or they're going to be giving us a bunch of smoke and expecting us to inhale it, or whatever the phrase is. Like it's blowing smoke up our.
Yeah,
that one.
I want to see some smoke, but I want to see it in the clubhouse when we're clinching the division.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay, fine. Final question. How many ball games do the 2026 Reds win? You can give it like a if we get this or if we don't get this. You know what I mean? Like kind of a range, if anything.
Did you say playoff wins?
Ha! Well, I have a regular season, and then you can parlay that into the 1A, 1B.
So you want a win total for the season?
Yeah,
is that what you said.
You could break it down to regular season, postseason, if you will, or if you're just, or you throw out one. What's the maximum they'd have to win for playoffs? It's the 15 games or something like that. Anyway,
10.
10. They have to win 10 games. I guess if they don't have to play the wild card round, they have it 3, 4, 4. Yeah, that's 11.
Okay, yeah.
No, yeah, that's 11.
2. Well, if they play the wild card, 2.
13.
3. 4. 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they're going to win the World Series next year.
So 90 plus 13, so 103.
Yeah, let's go with that.
That's kind of the marker. If you're going to be like a serious ball club, you got to aim for 90. You know what I mean? Like get as close as you can to 90 or get over as much as you can to 90. If you're in the like 85, 84, 83 range that this 2025 ball club was in, it's dicey. You got a lot of flaws as a club. You're probably not necessarily lighting the world on fire in terms of, like making the fan base believe you can win a World Series, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's the 2006 Cardinals who won the division with 83 wins that can be thrown out there, but that's an outlier. You got the 84 win Diamondbacks in 2023 that made it to the World Series but didn't win it.
Yeah.
So you got to aim for 90. So that's kind of why I asked this question. Like, how many regular season wins do you think they get?
That's tough. I would hope that I'll give you 2 answers. I think regular season wise, man, that's a good one. Because they could, but the team that they have right now, they could go out and win 93, but then they could also go out and win 77.
Yeah.
So it's like
high variance.
Yeah. So like, I think realistically, they probably hit 90, 91. And then I'll give you another one. I think they're going to win a playoff series, potentially 2 next year.
Yeah.
realistically.
Yeah. My goal for them is 90. Like if they get 90, I feel really good going into the playoffs. I think the range can be anywhere from 85 to 90, to be honest with you, because injuries can happen. Hunter Green obviously only had 107 innings this year. Abbott had a full season except missing the first month or whatever.
Yeah.
But like he could, you know what I mean? Like you got there's a lot of variables. Obviously, you can't account for, injuries being one of them. The off-season stuff has to kind of go our way in terms of just getting the guys that we know this organization is going to sign. But if these guys hopefully can prove their worth, you know what I mean? Thank you, Austin Hayes, for your service, but you are only worth about $5 million anyway because you only played about half the season, right? So
Yeah.
we probably need more production out of the free agent signings we get in 2026 at the very least. And he had decent, like 15 homers or something like that. Like
Yeah, he wasn't terrible. It's just he wasn't healthy.
Yeah, we need more than 15. 15's is like a 0.0 WAR player in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like it's not really pushing you into playoff contention if you got a guy like that. So I'd say anywhere from 85 to 90 wins next year. And they'll be hosting a home playoff game with the wild card round, I'm thinking, because I can't see the voodoo magic of the Brewers running out yet. And the Cubs will probably reload a bit, even though it looks like Kyle Tucker's leaving at the end of this year.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do.
That would, you know what I want to see? That something that nobody can really say has happened in their lifetime since like the 40s. Win and clinch a World Series at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both 75 and 76 were on the road.
Mm-hmm.
1990 was on the road. I think 40 was it? Forget what year it was. I always get the years mixed up. 41, 43, whatever it was. That was at home.
1940 is when they won.
Yeah, 1940. And then 1919 was
the Black Sox.
yeah. So I think that was on the road. So
that was a best of 9 series, by the way.
yeah, that's crazy.
We're gonna bring that back for just the TV ratings. Game 9.
Game.
Of the World Series played in November 25th.
So what would that be? A 5-game sweep?
Yeah.
Jeez. What's stopping you from going to 11 games? You know,
if the TV money's there, don't put it past them. But I don't know. They're not getting the best deals. They opted out of the ESPN deal and all that, but they supposedly made up for it with whatever they amalgamated with ESPN Plus, getting the out-of-market games and whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know who takes over Sunday Night Baseball. Is that going to be a thing anymore?
I think that's be gone. I think they're just gonna play.
I'd like to see Apple do it. Like,
yeah, I like their Friday night coverage.
Mhm.
I don't mind the broadcast crew. I love the stats and the analytics, and for someone who doesn't comprehend analytics a whole lot, when I see, hit percentage per pitch, like I love that, just because like it's so cool just that you can judge. There is a number for that.
Yeah.
Like baseball, there's so many different numbers. Like I'm a traditionalist by heart. Like I love batting average and slugging and on base. OPS plus is kind of like the deepest that I get, or WRC plus. Couldn't really tell you a whole lot more. Like I don't tend to follow like BABIP a whole lot. Like
okay.
Batting average and balls in play.
Right.
I feel like that's just a luck stat. Just like Will Benson this year, I think his BABIP was over 300, and his actual batting, it was like, what, 202, just below 200.
You say he was super unlucky.
Yeah, like I don't like to use those stats to say a player's a certain player, but yeah, it's cool seeing those kind of stats. So I would love to see. I wouldn't even mind it if they went like a MLS route and just said, "Hey, Apple owns it all," or whatever. Like,
yeah,
it's I don't like how the NBA prior seasons was like you had Wednesday night basketball, Friday night basketball, and then everything else was like your local stations. And like where I live, I don't really have a local station. I'm in the Cincinnati area, but I live in Indiana. So I don't get Cleveland and I don't get Pacers because I'm too
Really?
far away from Indianapolis to get it.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a
You get
weird
the Atlanta Hawks.
Memphis Grizzlies. I mean,
Oh, yeah, I forgot the Grizzlies.
but I don't get any of those just because I'm not technically in the Indianapolis market. Like if I watch what used to be Fox Sports, like Ohio or Fox Sports Indiana, I was blacked out because I was too far out. It wasn't my local market. But if I went to Cleveland, it was the same situation. So I'm in a weird media market when it comes to the NBA. So I kind of like how I think I saw the NBA is going to be on Prime this
They're on
year.
Prime and NBC. I forget where else. But yeah, they divvied it up. They're doing the whole NFL thing where like the more streamers, the more like channels that they get more money basically because they're splitting up the pie, and basically selling for parts is more profitable than. I understand your like MLS take and putting it all under one will make it easier sometimes for some consumers, but like it also limits the growth, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like,
I get that too.
Like they even talked about MLS getting out of that contract after year one. And it wasn't coming from MLS. It was coming from Apple because Apple thought they weren't getting enough money for their value, which is crazy because it's only $250 million a year. Which,
yeah, and like with Apple, it's kind of weird because you got to buy into their system. Like
that too.
Like you have to have like an Apple TV box or an iPhone or a Mac,
Apple ID,
and and you have to have you have to pay for the Apple service, and then you got to pay for the thing, the sports service. So like I get that, but then like also YouTube TV does that with the NFL Sunday Ticket. So like
yeah,
I'd rather pay what's it $6 a month for Apple TV and then pay X amount of dollars for MLB than as opposed to paying like $80 a month for YouTube TV and then paying an extra $30 a month for NFL Sunday Ticket.
Yeah, that's It's what's that thing they talk about? It's like cable got broken up by all the streamers, but now it's all kind of like coming back to be basically
cable.
So, whatever.
Streaming didn't turn out to be what they said it was going to be.
It isn't. You're talking about like how, like, the NBA is the example most recently. Like a lot of games were on the regional networks. What's died is the regional networks.
Yeah.
The cable regional networks. There's no more Fox Sports Ohio. Obviously, that became Bally's, and now what is it? FanDuel, and that's still like only in a couple markets. And the Reds, unfortunately, are now probably going to be FanDuel again because they had like growth, 21% growth of viewership from 2024-25. But like I think the Twins, the Rays, like all their markets are they got sold to MLB. So you have to, and the Diamondbacks, I think you have to buy it through MLB, $19.99 a month to have them do all the production. So I think that died, and now is basically now you can still see a lot of games if you have the money. It's just a matter of forking over all that money and hopefully canceling your subscription, and it doesn't keep charging you in the off season for 4 or 5 months. So anyway,
so I guess we'll save this topic for another show because we could go on. Going on for 2 hours now, but I was just kind of just browsing through some possible TV rumors for next year because they haven't really finalized any 2026 deals yet for Reds TV.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I did see that they had a 21% increase in viewers from last year to this year.
Right.
So looks like we're stuck with FanDuel one more year.
Yeah, which
I was kind of looking forward to the broadcasted by MLB just because I like the camera angles and I like Sadak, but maybe they move on from Barry.
I hear Joey Votto is a free agent. I don't know about
yeah, that's a topic for another show too.
Yeah, technically, I think the FanDuel staff is employed by the Reds, right? Like it's a
Yeah, it's a Reds owned thing, I
in-house
think.
team. So yeah, so that would fences would have to be mended there, just to put that shortly. It was Mr. Joseph Daniavato. But yeah, that's definitely an off-season show. We can put that behind a paywall and whatnot. But, coming up, we do have an interview though. A guy that's a Mariners fan, which hopefully the Mariners win either tonight or will they play Monday? No, that would go against Monday Night Football. Probably Tuesday is Game 7. Hopefully the Mariners do well. The guy also writes about Blog Red Machine for the Reds. A guy that I found on there because his article caught my eye because he was the first guy to put out there, at least from what I could tell, that the Royals might non-tender Jonathan India. He wrote about it, basically just saying how the Reds are so great with their trading India, basically, more or less. But not to pile on Jonathan India. He just had a kid, right, recently.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah. But, hopefully he gets, to continue to play baseball at some level. Talk about a team that underperformed. The Royals are 82-80. So that team I thought was a lot better than that. Like I thought they were in playoff range with the type of players they have on that team.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Anything else you got coming up, Rick?
Nothing really out there. I'll have a couple articles this week. Not really sure on what player I'm going to pick yet, but I got about 6 or 7 that are done. I just got to pick them and then just add a little bit more to them. Other than that, nothing much. What about you?
No, I'm following the Winter League and Dominican, following Arizona Fall League and Mexican Pacific League, and our guys there aren't playing that much, and they're super young. Ichiro Kano and Yael Romero are like 19 years old.
He had a walk-off, didn't he? Ichiro Kano?
It was a walk-off walk.
Nice.
It was his only at bat of the game, so
nice.
Plate appearance. So it was a real weird, like.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, it was like how the who was walking in runs? Was it Milwaukee walking in Dodgers players the other day? It was just kind of weird stuff. A walk-off walk is.
Well, there was a Cleveland game where I think they were fighting for the division or whatever, and they had a walk-off hit by pitch with the bases loaded.
Yeah, I think I was good to try. Unless crazy stuff. Baseball's crazy like that. They were yelling at the Brewers guy for not getting hit by a pitch to hit by a pitch in a run when the ball
been direct on his kneecap. Like,
but it was coming from instinct. It was such a sharp angle that I was coming at, so you can't really blame the guy. And instinct takes over and all that stuff. And yeah, I think Zach Cozart was out there going "Come on, man! Get real! This is not like the Don Baylor years where he just gets all that his big shoulder in the way and knock it." I think Don Baylor is one of the all-time hit by pitch leaders of all time. I want to say. 70 or 80. Oh, you know who else? Jason Kendall or who was it? He was a catcher, right? Biggio. Those three guys. Yeah. That's the Mount Rushmore. There's probably one more maybe you can think of. The Mount Rushmore of getting hit by pitches. Those guys right there.
Derek Dietrich for a little while.
Derek Dietrich. He had a lot of things going on for him. So
yeah, he did.
All right. I think we've wasted each other's time and hopefully entertain some people along the way, but let's do our thing and sign off. Go Reds.
Go Reds.